She stood at the bus stop, feeling cold and suddenly alone. For all that she was glad that Abby was gone, yes, she could openly admit that now, there were still times when she felt oddly lonely. It was as if Abby was the only other person in the world who had truly known her, had understood her, had shared her darkest, nastiest secrets. Whilst it was a relief that she'd never have to think about such things again, it also made her feel isolated, as if she was living on an uninhabited moon instead of a busy city. Inwardly, she squirmed with shame as she thought of some of the things that Abby had made her do. They hadn't been nice. No, not nice at all. Suddenly, Vicky thought of the new girl, Trudy something or other, and what she'd said about having a friend of her own that had been no angel. Vicky gave a silent grunt of bitter amusement. Whatever the new girl's friend had been like, Vicky was sure she had been nothing compared to Abby. If Trudy, whatever her name was, knew all there was to know about Abby. But she was gone now, and couldn't cause anyone any more trouble. Her bus came, and Vicky sighed and climbed wearily aboard. Trudy tucked her hated recorder under her arm and poked her head into the kitchen. She was just in time to see her mum put some shillings into the milkman's canister, formerly used to keep tea, and realised that tomorrow, being Friday, was the day she paid him. "I'm just off, Mum. I won't be late." "OK. I didn't know Grace paid the recorder, though." Trudy ducked her eyes so that she didn't have to meet her mother's gaze. To explain her sudden propensity for going out on a weeknight, she'd told her parents that she was going to Grace's house to help her practice her music. "We all learned at school, Mum," Trudy temporised, which was true enough. Of course, Grace had no more kept up with the instrument than Trudy had. "Give my love to her mother," Barbara Loveday said. "I will," Trudy called back, feeling smaller and smaller by the minute, and made her escape with some relief. She walked quickly to the bottom of the road, where the coroner's rover was parked and waiting for her. It was not another judging night at the theatre, thank goodness, but Dr. Ryder wanted to visit some of his fellow judges and had offered to save her a bus fare into town. He was going to use the excuse of needing to ask for their advice on judging, to probe them about what they knew of the girls' private lives. "So it's the talent spot rehearsal tonight, is it?" the coroner asked, spying the recorder right away. Trudy sighed heavily. "I'm terrible at it. I never was much good even at school, and it's taken me ages to find a proper piece to play, by a real classical-type composer. I don't think London Bridge is Falling Down will cut it somehow. I'm not even sure I'm reading the score right, since I've never been musical. It's going to be a complete disaster." Clement smiled. "Never mind. Remember, it's not as if you're actually going to be in the competition when it plays out in front of the public, are you? So it doesn't really matter, does it?" "No," Trudy laughed, "but I'm still going to look like a right nitwit in front of the others when they get to listen to me tootling away." Clement grinned heartlessly at the imagined scene and blithely dropped her off at the theatre before going on to the Eagle and Child in St. Giles. It was the pub made famous by some of Oxford's more well-known authors, but it was also the chosen local, or so he'd been told, where one of his fellow judges often went for his evening pint. Before he went in, he popped a breath mint into his mouth and was still sucking on it as he pushed through the door and stepped over the threshold. Then he felt his foot catch on the uneven flooring and stumbled slightly, forcing him to catch hold of the edge of the door to prevent himself from pitching forward. He glanced around nonchalantly and was relieved to see that none of the drinkers already inside had noticed the incident. In fact, the haze of smoke from cigarettes was so thick in the rather small bar-room that he doubted that anyone would have noticed if he'd come in wearing a tartan kilt and tam-o'-shanter. He checked his gait as he walked up to the bar and was relieved to discover that he hadn't begun shuffling his feet just yet.